Okay, let's be honest. You've been saving for retirement for, well, forever. You've probably got a number in your head, right? That magic number. But the big scary question is, how do you actually know if it's going to be enough? I mean, for real. Well, today we're going to break down a super practical test that'll help you answer exactly that.
All right, before we jump in, I've got to say the important stuff first. Just a heads up, this is all for informational purposes. It is not financial advice. You should always chat with a qualified advisor who knows your personal situation. So here's what we're going to cover. First up, we'll talk about something called the red zone. Then we'll get into the main event, the retirement dry run. We'll go step by step, calculating your budget, adding in future costs, and then actually living the test. And finally, we'll look at what to do with the results, how to close the gap.
So let's dive right in with this idea of the red zone. If you're a Canadian in your 50s, listen up, because financial planners say this is when you enter a whole new, really critical phase of planning.
And what this means is that your entire financial strategy has to do a complete 180. See, for decades, it's been all about one thing: growth, 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 building that nest egg. But now the game changes. In the red zone, the goal shifts to aggressively preserving what you've already built. It's not about climbing higher up the mountain anymore. It's about making absolutely sure you have a safe, secure path back down. Okay, so if preservation is the new name of the game, how do you actually, pressure test your plan? How do you know it's solid? Well, that's where this really clever idea comes into play: the retirement dry run.
It's pretty much what it sounds like. For a few months, you stop guessing and you start living on the income you project you'll have in retirement. The whole point is simple, but so powerful. To find out if the life you're picturing, with the travel, the hobbies, spending time with the grandkids, if that dream actually lines up with what your savings can realistically give you.
I know, it sounds great in theory, right? But how do you actually do it? Where do you even start with the numbers and the budget? Don't worry, we're going to break it all down.
All right, let's get into the how-to. Step 1 is finding that monthly test budget. And just to be clear, this isn't your final retirement income. Not yet. This is the number you're going to try to live on for a few months to see how it feels.
And you know what? The formula is actually pretty straightforward. Here's what you do. First, take your current income. Then you're going to subtract whatever you're currently saving each month. I mean, you won't be putting money into savings when you're retired, right? Next, and this is a big one, subtract all those work-related costs. We're talking about your commute, gas, parking, maybe professional fees, even all those lunches you buy. Whatever is left over, boom, that's your monthly test budget.
Now, speaking of retirement income, it's really important to know how your savings actually work. For most Canadians, it comes down to two big ones, the RRSP and the TFSA. The easiest way to think about them is like they're opposites. With an RRSP, you get a tax break right now when you put money in, but you have to pay tax on it when you take it out in retirement. A TFSA is the reverse. You put in after-tax money, so no break now, but everything you take out later, all the growth, all the withdrawals, is completely tax-free. And trust me, this difference is absolutely crucial.
Just look at this simple chart. Let's say we're talking about a $10,000 withdrawal. See that TFSA bar? It represents the full amount. You take it out, you get it all. Now look at the RRSP bar. See that shaded part at the top? That's the tax you'll have to pay. So the big takeaway is that what you pull out of an RRSP isn't exactly what you get to spend, and you have to plan for that.
Okay, on to step 2. This is where we budget for expenses you didn't even have yet. And honestly, this is a step so many people forget, but it is absolutely critical to get this right.
Think about it. Your benefits at work probably cover a ton of stuff, right? But what happens when that's all gone? Suddenly, you're on the hook for things like dental care, specialized prescriptions, maybe even renovations to your home so you can age in place. And here's a really big one, especially if you plan to retire before 65. You'll need some kind of health bridging insurance to cover you until the government benefits kick in.
So you can't just think about these costs in the abstract. You have to put a real number on them. For example, that bridging health insurance, that could easily cost you $500 a month, maybe more. So for this dry run to be realistic, you have to take that estimated cost and subtract it from your test budget. Okay, let's move on to step 3. So you've done all the math. You have your number, your current income minus your savings, minus your work costs, minus those future expenses. You've got your test budget. Now for the fun part. You actually have to live on it.
Yep. For the next 3 months, you are going to try to live only on that budget you just calculated. Every single thing. Groceries, bills, going out, you name it. It all has to come out of that one number. So why 3 months? Well, 1 month can be a fluke, right? But 3 months, that's long enough to really show you what your spending habits are. It's where you'll feel the pinch, if there is one.
All right, so after this 3 months are up, you've done it. And now you have some incredibly valuable real-world data. So what's next? Now we have to analyze what you've learned.
And really, it all comes down to this super simple formula. You take your desired expenses, what you actually spent to live the way you want, and you subtract the budget you were testing. The result is your gap. Were you over? Were you under? That number might just be the single most important piece of financial information you can get at this stage.
Because this whole exercise helps you see if your desired lifestyle, all the fun stuff, the travel, the hobbies, really matches your actual savings. And look, if you find a gap, if you spent more than you budgeted, that is not a failure. Not at all. It's an opportunity. Finding this out now gives you time, while you're still working, to make some adjustments. And that really brings us to the big question, doesn't it? This whole test is designed to give you clarity. It takes all that vague worry about retirement and turns it into a concrete, actionable number. So, now that you have the data, what's your next move? Do you save more? Maybe adjust your plans a little? Or hey, maybe you find out you're in even better shape than you thought. So was this useful? If you found this little tutorial helpful, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more. We love breaking down these kinds of big topics into easy steps. Thanks so much for watching.